Welcome back, CataclysmGaming. I'm your host, Grim Reaper here, and in this new little short series, we're going to be knocking out God setups for Cypher, God darts, God flashes, and so on. Make sure you're liked and subscribed. A lot of you guys aren't subscribed to this channel yet. We're busting out great content for you guys. Also, enjoy the video. Let's get into it. For the first God setup, I'm going to show you on Ascent. Starting with B, look up here, crouch, and then through your cage. Then come to lane, and you're going to pair it with this trip. For the second trip, you're going to line up yourself with this box, turn around, and put it on this wall. For the best camera, anywhere up on this wall is going to allow you to get scans and free kills and tags. You could play this setup from stairs or lane, either way. This is what it fully looks like. One way here, spam.
Cage triggered.
One way here, and you can capitalize off spamming with this trip as well. That's all good for B. For the God setup towards A, we're going to start off by jumping on top of Jen and putting our camera up here. Next, we're going to put an unbreakable trip low to the floor off those bricks here. For the second trip, we're going to put it along this brown box all the way to Jen. First cage for the choke. Second cage for backside. On to our next map. Let's get over onto Bind. Starting off towards the B bomb site, this is going to give you guaranteed kills while defending this site. Starting off with this trip, we're going to look up here.
Yeah.
And this is going to cover default plant. Second trip, we're going to line up under hookah and just throw it off this little corner. For the camera, we're going to jump on top of this radiant box, jump through. For our first cage, then our second cage. Play this from elbow to get guaranteed kills of people jumping out of hookah and anyone planting the bomb.
Cage triggered.
Let's go to A. Starting off with the camera, you're gonna jump and throw it on this vent. This will see short and showers. For one of the best trips on A side to cover showers, throw it at this corner. It's gonna be a low trip. Pair this with a cage. Second trip, we're gonna crouch, line it up on this poster. And then for your second cage, you can put it right here to help out with the trip as well. Now you can play this setup from backside. Pop, pop. For a quick bonus setup towards A, trip off the teleporter. Second trip for the box. Cypher cage off this box. Another cage for the choke. Then you can play it in the dark corner back here on this barrel. Pop these cages, get free kills spamming through these cages and trips. On to the next map. Let's check out Haven now. Starting off with A bomb site, and especially with the camera, jump on top of this mid site box, jump throw. He sees all of A-Link and site. First trip, we're going to line up with ammo box, crouch, and throw it. For the second trip next to graffiti, we're going to throw it off this box. For the cages, we're going to place one here, and then we're going to place one also here. If the enemy are taking sight, you can pop this cage, spam off this trip, and then flood in with both these cages, and probably get another kill with this trip as well. Let's go look at B. I like to put my camera right up here. Jump throw, we want to put a trip here. And then for our second trip, we're also going to put that to the left of sight. Here. First cage right here in the middle. And then for our second cage, we're also going to put right here.
Here. Cage
pop, pop.
Triggered.
Could run through, spam, and jump up. Let's go check out C. For the camera of choice, we're going to jump off from logs onto this box, look at this wall, jump throw. This will see early info here and also info garage. Starting off with cages, we're going to line ourselves in the corner, look at the ceiling, and throw. Then for our second cage, here. Now for our first tripwire, we're going to line up off of this little pot. Second tripwire, we're going to angle it off of this corner. We're going to have a nice little X-Force setup. And then we're going to play this from plat. We have all the info we need. If they're pushing garage, we could stall them by popping the one way. And if they're pushing side. Alright, next map, let's go. We're here on Sunset. Starting off with A, we gotta use this camera. Early info main and back elbow. Trip number one, we're gonna aim off of this tarp, just like so. And then for the second trip, we're gonna throw it off of this wall. Goes to here. Cage number one way. Now for the second cage, I like to keep this cage in my pocket just in case the enemy are throwing it this one way. For this setup, we're going to be playing CT. You see the enemy hard pushing towards A. Pop the cage, could play off this one way. If there is no smoke, drop this cage, spam through the box. Starting off with the market cam. This camera is going to give you info for both market and main. Bonus camera off this palm tree sees deep market and early B. Both cameras are used and they're the most common one because they're the best one. For our first trip, instead of doing the unbreakable trip, we're going to do a weird one right off barriers start. When barriers fall, throw this trip. Anyone swinging out, you can get a guaranteed kill. For the cage, we're going to do the one way. Jump on top of this little planter, crosshair right here. Remember, you can line it up with your tripwire and then throw. For our second cage, we're going to drop one just right here. And then this trip right on the stairs. We're gonna play this setup from backside. You see people walking up, get ready to pop this cage and spam off your first trip. And then you have your one way to play off of as well. That's it for me for Sunset. Let's get into our bonus content on Lotus. See you there. Now for the actual finale, getting onto Lotus. Starting off with this camera up here. Gotta see over Viper walls and catching anyone walking in sight. Trip number 1. Yes, I know it's jumpable, but we're going to be playing off of that idea. Stairs. Cage number 1. For our second trip, we're going to go to front sight and throw it off of this little statue here. And then for our last cage, we're going to use it as a stall cage. We can play this setup from sight.
Cage triggered.
Rotate to backside.
Cage triggered.
Now if you lock down A, onto B. Starting off with our tripwire. Starting off with their trip and throw it right off the big toe. Then pair it with a cage. And then for our second trip. And we're gonna play this from heaven with another cage here, so we can flood with it. Then for camera, we'll hear all the info and see all the info on C and see everyone walking up.
Cage triggered.
Finally, we're on C. First, we're gonna jump on top of this brown box. And throw our cam up here. This is gonna be a retake camera, not really for info. Trip number 1. Trip number 2 up here to catch everyone who's dashing in. Cage number 1. And then cage number 2.
Cage triggered. Cage triggered.
I've been Grim Reaper. Thanks for watching. This has been our guides done quick. Catch you next time. Tune in tomorrow and you'll be able to see some Sova God darts on every map. Alright, take care.